not get crazy with how many sweaters I'm knitting this man, okay? What do I get this guy? What do I do? Almost told my boyfriend that I was making him a sweater last night. It's me in my boyfriend's sweater. Hello, welcome back to my channel, Knits by Mandy. My name is Amanda, and in this video, I'll be knitting my boyfriend a sweater. Very controversial, as there is, if you may not know, an old wives' tale called the sweater curse, that if you knit a sweater for someone that you're not married to, that you may break up either while you're knitting it or after you give your partner the sweater. And I think this boils down to something's going on upstairs. I think this boils down to, you know, maybe giving a gift to someone and then not appreciating it, because as we all know, it takes a lot of love and care to create garments, and even more love and care, I think, to give those away once we're done creating them. I'm not trying to be, you know, too cavalier about this, but I'm pretty confident that my partner will appreciate this. And it is something that I want to make, you know, to demonstrate my love for him. And also exciting because we have just actually applied for an apartment, so we may be moving in together soon. All that being said, I want to talk about yarn and pattern selection, because off the bat, we are running into a bit of a dilemma. I've intended on making the Hot Toddy sweater by Knitatude, and it looks like a fantastic pattern. I haven't knit any of her patterns yet, but I've only really heard good things. It's a size inclusive pattern. I really like the projects that are on Ravelry, and I had in my head that I wanted to make this with a superwash wool, because I am giving it to my partner and I want it to be something that he can't like accidentally ruin easily. So I purchased Swish worsted from Knitpicks, and I love this yarn. I've used this before to make a baby cardigan, so it's very soft to the touch. However, what I have found is that I have not been able to meet gauge, and I think that's because my yarn is a little too small. It calls for an Aran weight, and I thought I'd be okay, but the gauge is a little more off than I thought it was going to be. So I have already knit 1, 2, 3 gauge swatches. Because I'm knitting this for him, like I really want to make sure it fits. And yeah, so let me kind of walk through the options that I see in my head right now, and we'll see what I end up doing. So the first one is, none of these have gauge, right? They're all a little too many stitches per inch, which would lend in a bigger garment than intended. The first thing that I could do is knit it in the biggest needle size, and this is the fabric knit in a 6mm needle, and you can already see that like this is a pretty thin fabric, and I don't want to use this fabric for his sweater. It's too thin. And I don't want it to be that thin for a cozy sweater. So that option is kind of already off the table, but I thought I'd put that out there. So that's a no-go. And this is 0.5mm up from the original gauge swatch. Tell me why I knit the 5.5 and I was like, oh yeah, I don't like how this looks, I'll knit the 4.5. Amanda, this is already too many stitches. Like, this is going to be more. Anyway. So the next thing I could do is, I've written all the gauges down for these swatches and either knit a size smaller. Maybe I could knit it on a 5mm needle and adjust the size from there. That is another option. I think that would be okay. This is a top-down sweater, so I think what I worry about not fitting is the shoulders and then the armpit length being too long. The benefit that I have is that my boyfriend is very similar sized to me. He is like, we're pretty much the same height and around the same weight, given our weight is distributed differently because he doesn't have boobs, and he's more muscular than I am. But like when I wear his clothes, they fit as if they were mine. You know what I mean? If not a little bit tighter, because he likes to wear things tight to his body, which I understand. So that I have going for me. This can be something that I can try on and kind of use my body as a mostly accurate determiner. And things like sleeve length and hem length, I can always fix after. This all being said, I would like to keep this a surprise from him. And that is another obstacle that I have. We'll see how far I can get without him knowing that I'm doing this. I've kind of resigned that I might have to tell him, depending on how quickly I can work this up. And that's the other thing, I'm on a time crunch as well. It's currently November 21st. So the only other option I could think of is finding a sweater pattern to knit for him that fits more of this yarn, because buying new yarn isn't really on the table for me right now. I already purchased this yarn. I'm not going to use this color to knit a sweater for myself. I intended to make, you know what I mean? Like, I don't usually like using superwash wool. I don't like this color for me. It's pretty, but like, it's actually really nice. But I don't want to buy more yarn. So those are the parameters. I think as I'm talking this out, the two strongest options are changing size. And the second one would be to probably just knit him a more traditional like raglan sweater pattern. And I think he'd still wear that. It also might take less time because I wouldn't have to do the hood. That might actually be a more attractive option. So I'm going to do a little bit of research. I'm going to do a little bit of math, and I will come back to you with what I end up deciding to cast on, and or if I purchased a new pattern. And if I don't end up using the hoodie pattern, I think that's fine. Like, I can always knit him the hoodie in a year or two, because let's not get crazy with how many sweaters I'm knitting this man, okay? So that's where I'm at right now. We got to work with what the good Lord gave us, and I'll let you know what I decide doing. I'm back with some mind-numbing math, and I think what I did makes sense. And the more I talk it out, the more it's actually been helpful. So I filmed this a few times. So what I did was I realized I recounted my 5.5 swatch, and that was closer than I thought. So I'm just one away on the row gauge. I'm one away on the stitch gauge. I'm 6 away on the row gauge. But row, I feel easier about needing to modify for. This is not an ideal situation for a gift knit. Okay. So what I did math-wise to figure this out is first, I found out the stitch per inch for both of the gauges that I have. So for example, for what that means is the sweater gauge is 15 stitches by 20 rows. And so I divided that by 4 because it's 4 by 4 inches in a gauge swatch, correct? To find the count per inch. So that's 37.5 times 5. Math was not my strong suit. So I take the sweater's stitch per inch count and I multiply that by the circumference to find the number of stitches total in the body circumference. Because what I care about is fitting in the chest, correct? So once I have that number, I then divide that number by 4 in order to find what the finished inch circumference would be should I use, you know, the 5.5 gauge. So 4 is what I got for the stitch per inch for the 5.5 needles when I did the gauge swatch. Then I found that how much smaller my finished product would be. So the finished circumference of the small is about 40 inches, and then mine would be about 38. So it's only going to be about 2 inches smaller, which I think is fine, which I think we can get away with. So I'm gonna go forward with that knowledge. And I think that's gonna be great because my boyfriend likes tight clothes anyway. So that is my plan. let's do it. Okay, so today is the next day. I got some progress starting out the sweater, making the raglan increases. And the one thing that I really like about this pattern is it has this really cool slipped stitch detail that goes down the sleeves and then down the center of the back, and also on the hood. So I'm packing my knitting bag. I'm hoping to get a lot of knitting done because here's my other obstacle. We're not going to be spending Thanksgiving together, and I'm going to be home for a whole week, which is great. But we are going to be spending a lot of time together in December leading up to the holidays. So I think he's going to even come. I'm going to be home in Pittsburgh for most of the month, and I think he's going to come like the week before Christmas. So best case scenario, I finish before he shows up. I'm thinking that's probably realistic because I've never made a sweater that quickly. Unless it was like bulky. I think that I can at least not have him know that I'm making him a sweater until he comes to Pittsburgh, and then maybe at that point I'll be like, okay, well, you have to know what I'm getting you, but you know, so that could work. So anyway, I'm being very advantageous. I'm bringing all of this yarn with me. Advantageous, that's not the word, but you know what I mean. I'm being over presumptuous with how much knitting I'll get done, but I'm hoping it'll be chill. I had to take my Whitmore cardigan off my big cord. I need more than one long cord. So I'm leaving the Whitmore cardigan here, so I'll just work on this. This is the only thing I'm going to work on. And also we got approved for the apartment. So very exciting stuff going on. And yeah, look how pretty this looks in the sun. You can get a good look. This is the colorway Lost Lake Heather. And sorry if I seemed frazzled right now, but it's classic. I leave right after work and I didn't pack. So that's why I'm packing everything right now. And he was also over here last night. So I got everything and then I like stuffed it in a box, so he wouldn't see it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. And I even took pictures of my Whitmore cardigan, so I'll have something to post the week that I'm gone, because I'm not going to want to post this on social media until obviously this is done. So yeah, that is the update on the sweater. I wish I had a longer flight home because then I'd really get to knock it out, but it's really short, so not the worst problem to have though. So all right, I'll see you guys soon. Before I end this segment, I remembered I wanted to show you what I usually bring with me when I'm traveling. I've really liked using this Bagoo bag as a project bag when I travel because it is just like a vinyl material, and I know sometimes needles can like poke through tote bags or things like that, so I like that. It's not a zipper closure. I don't have necessarily any formal project bags, but I like this for traveling because it's super light. And then I'll usually pack a little like sachet of notions. I don't think I'm gonna need any more stitch markers, but I threw a few interlocking stitch markers in here, as well as my tapestry needle. And actually, when I ordered from Knitpicks, I got this new retractable tape measure, which I'm absolutely yeeted about. I'm so excited. It's the little things, right? So I'm gonna put that in there, and then that's just gonna be my little travel bag. Obviously, I have them on a pretty short cord right now, so I'm gonna bring both cords, and then I think I'll also bring, just in case, these are different sizes, I'm gonna bring whatever size I need for ribbing, but I don't think I'll need it. I think maybe the one last thing I'll bring is, I just put my Whitmore cardigan on one of these, my knitting barber cords. I don't know if I'll need this. If I was smart and proactive and wasn't filming this and was being more reflective before I leave for a week, I would probably read ahead in the pattern to see what I need. But it's a top-down pattern. It's pretty straightforward. I already have the stitch markers that I need on here. I don't think I'll need more. So that's what I'm bringing, my little sachet, knitting barber cord, stitch markers. Put that in here, put all my yarn in here, I could have made this a relaxing montage, but I'm not feeling relaxed right now, love. I believe I need a 4.5 or a 5. I'll just bring both. And I have a hair tie on. What I'm gonna do is just hair tie these together and throw them in my bag. I've been pretty safe when it comes to security, going through security with needles. If you want to be super careful, I would take your needles off your interchangeables and hopefully take interchangeables instead of fixed needles. And if not fixed needles, put your project on hold just in case. But traveling domestically, I haven't had any issues. I haven't traveled internationally. I know some countries, the rules are just different everywhere. So just be wary of that, but interchangeable sets really good for air travel for this reason. So I'm bringing these because I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to be rather safe than sorry. And if I don't have enough pair of underwear on my trip, it's because I spent time packing my knitting bag. No, I already packed my underwear, don't worry. I'm not that irresponsible. So, and then this should be good off the needles. I know some people use stoppers, but I usually just do this. It's usually fine. And there we go. I think I'm gonna just stuff this on the top layer of my suitcase. And that should be good. And I will see you guys in Pittsburgh. Hello everyone, I am in Pittsburgh. It is November 23rd and we have, some progress here. It's a little all scrunched up because it is on my smallest cord. I will be moving it obviously soon, but I feel like pretty good progress so far. I'm feeling like there's a lot of stretch in the garment, which is good. But one thing I remembered while I was knitting this in the airport yesterday was that how off my row gauge was. And I did read in the pattern, I when I got home, I took a look at the pattern and she does say that once you're done making the increases, she gives you kind of a time to be like, okay, it should fit at this part of your body. And if it doesn't, you can go ahead and keep knitting in the round without doing the increases until you have the proper length. So I'm feeling like we should be okay as long as the shoulder fits. I think once I move this to maybe do a few more increase rounds and move this to a bigger needle, I'm so glad I brought my knitting barber cords. I'll take those and just try to pull this over my head. I'm not nervous about this because this is pretty, I think the cord is bigger than this, is smaller than this. So I'm feeling okay about the neck hole and everything. And then there's no big collar to add. So it's just the hood. So it'll hopefully retain most of its stretch. So that's how I'm feeling so far. I'm really enjoying knitting with this yarn. I can't recommend this yarn enough. It is so soft and it's such a nice feeling superwash. It is a merino, but it's just such a nice feeling superwash. And I like the fabric that it's making. It's thick, but it also feels light. I don't know how to describe that. There's a lightness to this. So, oh, I'm just digging everything. That is the update so far. And I will see y'all soon when I have some more time to work on this. I'm just taking a break in my work day. I'm so ready to be done with work and ready to spend time with my family and eat turkey. Okay, we have a pretty big check-in right now. So I just finished almost my second ball of yarn. So we're at 100 grams of yarn right now. And we're technically at the place where we would split for sleeves. And you might look at this and you probably are thinking, this is really small, Amanda. And it is. So what I'm gonna do is I knit up the extra small but I'm not realizing that like my measurements are actually kind of coming in accurately. Don't know how that's happening. Like, I'm kind of confused, but I guess, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. However, I'm just gonna like keep going with what is in front of me right now. And so what I'm gonna do is I've done the math to figure out how many more increases I would need for the next size, and I'm going ahead and going just to add the increase rounds I'm gonna like knit in pattern basically, as if I was kind of continuing the pattern, and hopefully that should give me a better finished fit, and give us enough room, especially to work with for the body stitches I'm more worried about now. So I think this will actually, like put this over my head. I think this will be really nice. I think like I said, he likes to wear things like pretty tight. I think how kind of close the raglan stitches are will give him a nice little, like, it'll hug his arms nicely. So yeah, that's my plan so far. I almost thought I was gonna have to unfurl it, but I don't necessarily think I don't have to do that in order to kind of increase to the next size, especially because I don't think like this is getting super long yet. So I actually feel like we're in a pretty good spot, and the only other thing that I'm getting a little nervous about is superwash wool, because I've actually never knit a sweater in superwash merino before. I've knit tank tops, but no sweaters. So I am a little nervous that I'm wondering if I sacrificed too much structural integrity by selecting an easy to take care of yarn. However, it just might be something that I was reading online that he can put in the dryer and that will help it retain its shape. Because I'm like, oh, I don't really want this to get super stretched out. But I feel like people knit their sweaters with superwash wool all the time. So it must be like kind of okay, right? I read like one blog post and it was like, never knit a seamless pattern in superwash. So I was like, shit. So that's where I'm at, but I think I should be fine. I think what I'll do maybe is take a second look at the project page is on Ravelry and see if anyone's made something with in superwash. But yeah, this is what we have so far. I'll make sure to maybe take some better footage of it and some photos of it once I split for sleeves and it's like a reasonable size. I know right now it looks really small, but I actually think once with blocking and the increases, it'll be okay. Yeah, so there it is. Are you even staying at your parents' house if you're not wearing your field hockey sweatshirt from 2010? Hello. Today is Thanksgiving and I have exciting news. I just separated for sleeves before I'm gonna get ready for Thanksgiving dinner. It's still looking like not huge, but I do think that it's gonna stretch. Like this has a lot of stretch. I think once it blocks, it's gonna grow a lot. So I kind of talked myself off the ledge. I am gonna put this on and give it a little try. Actually, I think this is gonna fit him like really nicely. It might be a little tight under his pits. That might be an issue. I wonder if I should have added more length. The other thing is, that's a little tough, is that she says to measure the raglan at your nipple, and mine are like here, but his are like here because he's a guy. So, I think this is something that will probably grow. So I think I'm just gonna keep going, guys. I'm gonna keep going. The color looks nice. I really like how the raglan stitches look. And we're on Body Island now. So I will continue working on it. It's really nice. And I think if I make it bigger, the sleeves will be like too baggy for him. I think he'll have a nice tapered fit on his arms. So cool. All right. I was trying to film a cute thing. In every clip in this vlog, I am not wearing makeup and in my bed or in my pajamas. And I love that for me. That's how I want to be remembered. That's how I want to immortalize Knits by Mandy. Okay, so I just want to show you a quick progress update on the hoodie. I have just a bit of the body down. We were watching some Hallmark movies today and getting some Christmas decorating done. So I got a chance to get some rows in between all of the fun. And like I said in the last clip, I was getting really nervous about how stretchy this is, but I think I've done the right thing through all of this like gauge weirdness with doing at least the smaller neck hole, and then, you know, we ended up increasing up to the number of stitches for a size small, but we started with the sizes for extra small. But I think with like the stretch and of course with blocking, I know this will grow a lot. I think in between all of that, we should be pretty good. And hopefully this will still, like the fabric will still look nice and fit my boyfriend nicely. Hello, it is November 28th and I have a progress update. We are chugging right along, everybody. I thought it'd be funny maybe if I just finished here and gave him a cropped sweater, but he wouldn't wear it. So I guess it's not that funny, is it, babes? Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I feel like I addressed most of my kind of like gauge, fabric, yarn worries with the sizing and the fabric itself and how stretchy it is. I actually think after a lot of reflection that this is going to be fine, because I was looking at some of the other objects and I was like, oh, I wonder if he would have liked a more woolly sweater, or I wish this was looking like as kind of rich and full as some of the other finished objects looked. But then I remembered, I'm like, he doesn't own any woolly sweaters, therefore I don't really know if he would like it all that much or wear it all that much. And I think that it has stretch, and it'll hopefully be form-fitting, will be an advantage to the sweater. So after all of that, I'm feeling better about it, and I think he'll kind of like the finished fabric because it's almost closer to a store-bought item, kind of like a knit, you know, that I feel like has a lot of give. And even though this might not necessarily, this is a good example of something that I don't think I would necessarily like in my own garment. I like making things out of a non-treated wool. First of all, he's not gonna know truly a huge difference. I'm really agonizing over a small detail that I would have to explain to him the difference between superwash wool and like merino wool. So I think sometimes we can get really in our heads, but I'm kind of in the phase now where I'm just trying to enjoy it. I don't want to stress myself out too much over this sweater. I just want to make sure that he'll like it. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Maybe I'll do a little sit down knit and chat later today. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this not the coziest setup you've seen on my page ever? So this is the tree fully put up. But let's talk about the sweater curse. And if you have not heard of the sweater curse, it is the superstition or the idea that when I need to eat lunch. I keep filming segments right before my meals. But it's the idea that if you cast on an item or you decide to make your partner a sweater before you marry them, that you will either break up shortly after you give it to them or while you're making it for them. And there's actually a whole Wikipedia page and the different theories that people attribute this to, like, oh, maybe you're trying to save the relationship and like one of your last ditch efforts no pun intended, is to make them a sweater. I think what it boils down to, if there is some truth to it, is people not appreciating the gift, and also people misplacing their love and affection to someone who doesn't deserve that, in short. Now, obviously, I'm not knitting this in the hopes I find either of those things out, but I'm feeling pretty good about my chances. But yeah, my boyfriend and I are about to start a new chapter together. We're about to move in together. And I'm just excited to give this to him. I was saying to my friends that he is a more like, he likes to get experiences more than things. However, I've wanted to do this. And why did I want to knit a sweater for my boyfriend if he prefers experiences over things? There's a few reasons. Partial of it is selfish. Like partially, I just wanted to knit a sweater for my boyfriend. But because of, I think, how pretty judicial I am with my gift knitting, I think he'll understand how much time went into this, because he sees me knitting all the time. He knows how long it takes for me to make things. And he also knows kind of how selfish I am in my knitting, and like how much I enjoy making things for myself. So there's that. I could not think of like, not a more humble way, but another way to kind of demonstrate what I'm willing to do for him. That sounds really corny. But the other item is part of our origin story. I mean, our really origin story is that we met on Hinge, which, you know, not super fun, not super like different. But we met in October of 2020. It was, you know, full pandemic swing. It was also the beginning. It was also the US 2020 election. So that was insane. Like everyone thought that the city of DC was going to be on fire and there was going to be a coup. And I mean, there was a coup, but it wasn't when people thought there was going to be a coup. Anyway, neither here nor there. It was just a really tumultuous time, right? But we ended up spending the holidays just with our family. So from Thanksgiving to Christmas, we spent it at home with our families just to limit kind of COVID exposure to everyone. And he was the one, I think, that said we were doing Christmas gifts. And I was like, Mom, what do I get this guy? What do I do? And mind you, at the time, I wasn't knitting. Like, this wasn't something that I had been doing throughout the pandemic. Knitting was just something that I knew to do from elementary school. My mom goes, you know, remembering all the little gifts I would make people when I was younger, why don't you knit him a scarf? And I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna knit him a scarf. That's so weird. I knit him a scarf. I went to the craft store. I picked up some like acrylic yarn, gray acrylic yarn, and made him a rib scarf and sent him cookies like I was Sally Homemaker. And it's just a really sweet memory that I have. It was technically our first Christmas. It was the first gift I ever gave him. And that got me back into knitting. So it is really like a full circle moment, I think, for receiving a knitted gift. I am always on him because he doesn't like wearing like cold weather accessories and then complains about how cold it is. So he doesn't wear the scarf super often, which is fine because, like I said earlier, like I'm not super offended because it's a scarf. However, I know he wears sweaters. So at this point in time, I feel comfortable making him a sweater, knowing that he in fact wears them. So that is really the story behind the sweater, and I hope, you know, he understands that and kind of sees the full circle of it all. And that is kind of my intention in making it, that like, oh, look how far we've come in 2 years. I went from knitting you a scarf to knitting you a sweater. And kind of thank you almost. I really have to thank my mom for suggesting it, but like getting me back into this craft that has given me back so much in the past 2 years and has been such a safe haven for me. It's really been, again, really corny alert, but like knitting's really been there for me. I had a tough summer with long COVID and getting COVID, and we've all experienced like extreme turmoil, stress, upheaval of our normal routines and lives in the past 2 years. And especially during that first pandemic winter of 2021, knitting was there for me, and it was really exciting to kind of dive back into something with a fresh perspective as an adult, kind of more confident in my abilities to make things. And it's just been such a great joy, and I don't know if I'll ever stop. So yeah, that's just it to kind of wrap up this section on gift knitting, why I decided to do this gift knit for the BF, and my thought process. Okay, so it is later in the day, and I realize I haven't tried it on since I joined for the armpits. So look at this length. We still obviously have a bit of a ways to go. I'm thinking actually kind of the length of what my shirt is right now, I think would be a pretty good length. You know, want it to be warm and cozy, but we are chugging right along. Good progress. So we're just finishing up the body right now. And I decided to go for a sewn bind off. The pattern doesn't call for that. It just says to bind off in pattern. But I've been really kind of enjoying the sewn bind off recently. And I'm just making sure to really like pull the yarn taut, because this yarn is so slippery and it's not going to stick to itself. So the one thing that I've learned about superwash wool, which I'm sure most people already know, but you know, knowledge is power, is what happens when they treat it is like wool has naturally kind of like little nubbins and teeth. And these teeth are partly what makes the wool so warm, because it traps air, and air is actually a fantastic insulator. And then the other thing is that with superwash wool, okay, so yeah, wool has these teeth, right? Depending on like the kind of wool, the teeth can feel finer or like less scratchy. And then with superwash wool, what happens is you're basically like enshrouding all the teeth and kind of flattening them down. And that's why it's so smooth and so slippery. So like normal wool will stick to itself. Like it can be a little sticky. You know, if you ever done a sewn bind off with a sticky wool, you can tell when you're pulling it through the loops, it likes to stick to itself. Or if it gets like tangled, it might not necessarily be knotted together, but it could almost just be like stuck together. So that's why superwash wool is so like loosey-goosey, because it doesn't know how to stick to itself. And that's what I like came to know and learn. And that's why I think it can also grow more. I think you like wool generally has like a pretty good memory. But I think the superwash makes it forget a little more. So yeah, almost done here. Alright, hello, it is the next day. I'm in the same spot. I'm watching Knitted by Whitney's vlogmas that she just put up. I'm so excited to be watching everyone's vlogs, even though I'm not vlogging, but I'm mostly working on this, which I can't put out content about because then my boyfriend might see it and it would just ruin everything. So anyway, maybe next year we will be vlogmasing, but the sleeve's coming along nicely. That's all I really have. Oh, I did bind off. I don't think I showed you that. The bind off turned out pretty nicely. I did end up doing the tubular bind off just to have a nicer finish, and I'm happy with how it turned out. I was a little nervous with this yarn just because it's been, I feel like I'm just not super used to it, but I'm feeling good. Oh no, is that a hole? Shit. I think I knew that was there. Okay, well, we need to patch that hole up. It shouldn't be too big of a deal. I'm gonna have to, there's some armpit holes too as well that I'm gonna have to kind of stitch through, but that's kind of normal for a raglan. But yeah. I'm just really happy, and I think I'm like making really good time. It's December 2nd and I already have I have a third of a sleeve done. I'm chilling. Gosh, I was filming the whole time. It's really, really bright in my apartment right now, so I'm kind of in the corner here right by my TV, but I just wanted to show you how the sweater is looking. I really want to finish the sleeve today. I think we could do it. The circumference is pretty small. I actually think I should probably stop with decreases. Maybe I'll do one more set for stretching, but I think we're done. Yeah, I'm liking how it's all looking with these little details. This is the most awkward angle. I had to put my needles on a really long cord to do magic loop. Sometimes I will like just use my shortest cord and make it work. And I think when I have less tapered sleeves, it works, but it was not working. And I really want to get a short needle set please ignore this, for sleeves and things like that, because I don't have DPNs and I think a short needle set would be more fun. Even though DPNs might be cheaper. I don't know, I haven't really ventured into DPNs. I'll have to think about it, but yeah, this is where we're at. It's December 4th, still feeling good. Check back in later. Or welcome back to my channel, Knits by Mandy. Why am I giving a whole intro? You've seen this video. Okay, hello. It is December 9th and I had a conference this week. It's Friday. I'm going back to Pittsburgh already for the month of December. And ladies and gentlemen and everybody else, we have a sweater. I just have to cast off the sleeve. Ooh, sorry, just getting violent. I just have to cast off the sleeve and then do the hood and we're done. Interested to see how the hood goes. I think the only thing that I'm really planning on changing so far after looking at the pattern is replacing the I-cord drawstring with cotton rope just to make it look a little bit more finished. I'll probably just buy some when I'm home in Pittsburgh. I have like quicker access to a Michael's and Joann's while I'm there. Yeah, so I'm really happy. I think it's gonna be great. Y'all, this is the face of a harrowed woman because I almost told my boyfriend that I was making him a sweater last night. I almost ruined the surprise. Okay, so here's what happened. My brother and I, and also my boyfriend, were chipping in to like get my parents a trip for Christmas. And so just to like make things a little bit more fun, I wrote these like series of like goofy poems. So I'm gonna like give them like a decoy present, and then it's gonna be like, it's gonna lead them to their stocking, and like there's gonna be an envelope in the stocking saying that, oh, like, you know, kind of like a riddle, not like a riddle, but you know what I mean. So anyway, one of the lines I used in like with the poems was like, I think you're hoping this gift should be better or something like this. But it won't be a hand knit sweater. And I was so excited about these poems that I was like, Austin, like, let me show you like what I wrote for this gift. And so I get to the hand knit sweater line and I'm like, ugh! and I'm like, it's funny because I'm like, you're knitting him a sweater, Amanda. Like, it's going to be funny. Yes. Once he opens the sweater and then my parents read that line, because I will have just gifted a hand knit sweater, but Austin doesn't know I'm making him a sweater yet. And so I was like, it's funny because I knit and I don't think he got it. I think I saved it. He's a little oblivious. He might be able to put it all together if he was like scheming. I don't know if he's scheming to try to figure out what I got him. So I might have blown my cover. Tough, guys. Tough, because I got so excited about my really bad poetry. I think we're okay, though. I think we're okay. I don't think he knows. We'll see. Hello. We're on the couch, different couch, and I have finished the hood. It's a hood, y'all. Okay, let me try this on. I know I have a sweatshirt on. I don't have a shirt on under this, so I'm just gonna put it on over my sweatshirt just so we can see the hood. I'm not gonna put it all the way on. Oh, this is so nice. I think he's gonna love it. I think he's gonna love it. Shut up. Shut up. How cute are the little slip stitches? Ah! This is my first time trying it on fully, actually. I will do a better video maybe in the morning, but I think I'm going to finish it. So I'll show you a better video of it, but this looks great. And I actually shortened the hood a little bit, and I'm glad that I did because it just looks a little big in some of the pictures. So I think it's going to stretch too. So I think this is good. I can't believe I knit him a sweater. I'm so happy. Okay. I'll check in when I'm done. You'll see it before I block it. It's so cute. It's like, I'm so much happier with it than I thought it was going to be. And I love this. So basically, I didn't really explain the hood. I look like evil Kermit. I didn't want to give too much away, but basically you pick up stitches, and I might edit this out. I need to kind of look at the pattern and see how much, or at the project listing and see how much she says. But basically you pick up stitches around the neck, you knit flat, you make increases, then you make decreases, and then you basically, the way that this seams together, and it didn't make any sense to me when I was making it because I didn't know how it was gonna look. You basically split the stitches in half and do a 3-needle bind off. So you get that really nice 3-needle bind off seam, which I love a 3-needle bind off. I think it's really just like a nice finish. And I'm really, really happy, guys. Hopefully he really likes it. I think like the fabric is really soft and it's not gonna be itchy. It doesn't feel itchy to me, which I think will be good for him. And yeah, I'm like I said, I'm really happy. Here is what the slipped stitch detailing looks like. And I really like that it's kind of that added, you know, a little zhuzh, a little je ne sais quoi. And it goes, I don't know how much you can see because it's so dark, but it goes up the hood and then down the back. So yeah, like I said, these are short, but that should be a quick fix. If anything, I can just put a lifeline in and rip. Honestly, it won't be that hard just to add a few other inches. I have enough yarn. I don't know why I didn't try this on better. And I think certainly if these don't grow too much, like these will come up shorter on him because I think he has more mass here. But I think this is gonna be a good fit for him. If it's like I can't overstate how snug this man likes his clothes. Basically, this is how things fit whenever I try things on from him. Like they're almost like a little too small for me because I like to wear things a little bit more relaxed than he does. So it's kind of funny, but I think the fit's gonna be great. I'm just really happy, guys. And I guess we'll see how I feel after blocking and how we feel about the sleeves. I'm not sure if I should preemptively, no, I'm gonna block first, and then maybe after blocking, if it's still too short, I will add more length. Here's me in my boyfriend's sweater. I'm literally evil Kermit. I'm literally evil Kermit. I think the hood ended up looking so nice. I was nervous about the hood, I'm not gonna lie. But I think it's a little, again, it's a little big, but it's a hoodie. Here's what it looks like down in the back. Already I can see that this has grown a lot. I only let it sit in the water for maybe 1 to 2 minutes because I knew how much it was going to grow, which I expected, totally expected. Did not know how to block out the hood, so I just kind of tried to lay it out the best I could. That rhymes. The stitches look really translucent back here, which is maybe I should try to like kind of squeeze them together instead. Sorry if this angle is really poopy, but I think it's still gonna be good. You can always throw it in the dryer because you can do that with superwash. So feeling fine as wine. I think the sleeve issue might have been. Wrap up the vlog here by sharing some pictures of my boyfriend in the sweater. It's currently December 29th, so we had a great Christmas, and I've just been working on editing the vlog footage, and I almost had an hour and a half of footage, which is crazy. But I had a really fun time vlogging this experience because I think it was something that was a little bit more touch and go experience than I've had in a while with making something. Like I had more moments of doubt, and I'll be completely honest, I'm not 100% happy with how the finished fabric turned out, but I think that's just a yarn choice issue, unfortunately. And I think I had to sacrifice a little tightness and gauge for the garment to fit, if that makes sense. I feel like I would want a tighter knit fabric if I could do this again differently, but this is just the first sweater I made him, so that's fine. The other thing that is a little bit wrong, but I just haven't done it yet because it's just been, you know, I've been working on my stuff after working on his sweater, is I do need to add a little bit of length in the back. So I think I definitely did not account for how much like space his shoulders would take up. So I don't have a picture of it because we didn't take a picture of it in the pictures, but in the back especially, it was really riding up and you could kind of see like even the undershirt he was wearing underneath the sweater. So other than that, he loved it. I had a great Christmas. Thank you everyone so much. If you made it this far to the end of the video, I hope you have a happy new year, full of health and wealth and happiness and joy and peace and love, and also knitting. Okay, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.